Internet is really big and there are billions of devices that are connected to internet. If I talk about IPv4 IP address alone, then there are 4 billion IPv4 addresses. That means there are 4 billion computers that are connected to the internet for sure. And these computers are doing a lot of things. Some of them are web servers, some of them are hosting some kind of database and a lot of stuff. We cannot keep track of what computer is running what, but there is a one guy who keeps track of all of this, and which is Showdown. That's we are going to discuss today. So what exactly the Showdown is? Showdown is nothing but the system or program which will ping all 4 billion IP addresses and many more to grab information as much as possible about those IP addresses or those computers, right? So how exactly the Showdown works? So basically each IP address has a close to 65,000 port, and it might be possible that lot of services are running on that particular IP address. So Showdown basically try to enumerate all of those services and store that data in the Showdown's database. So when we try to search something, it will filter out those data and show it to us. That's the oversimplified example how Showdown works. You must have seen a lot of YouTube videos which are claiming to find open cameras, open webcams, open printers on the Showdown, right? But these are just a basic things. Showdown is a lot more powerful tool. We can do a lot of powerful stuffs using the Showdown. So let me show you in this particular video. So first thing you need to do is you need to go to the www.showdown.io, which is Showdown's official website. And here is a track. So first we will understand how to search on the Showdown using basic queries. Then we will execute advanced queries to find the gold mine. Okay, so let's get started. First thing you need to do is go to the obviously the Showdown website, then create the account. You can use the free also, like without creating account, but it is limiting the access to the platform. So it is better to create a new account. So in my case, I already got one Showdown account, which I am using right now. Okay, on Showdown website, you will find one more page, which is this one, where all examples are given. So that includes example search queries. So let me explain one by one what it is. So first is a basic, like you go to the Showdown and you try to say like webcam. Okay, so that will show you like open webcam that can be accessed really easily. So when you execute query, you will get results like this. You will see results on the right hand side, and on the left hand side, you will see there are filters. So you can filter on the countries, you can filter using the ports, you can filter using the organizations and whatnot. You can explore by yourself later. But let's do one thing. Let's try to grab the port 80. Okay, so I will filter using the port 80. So as you can see, the query is automatically changed. Okay, so we search for the webcam, and when we search filter using the port 80, it is added port colon 80. It is similar to the Google Doc. Okay, if you want to check in the details, so as you can see right here, there are port filters. Okay, so where are the port filters? So if you check the example, as you can see, they are showing here the port filters. So that means you can write port colon and then port number, and we can filter accordingly. So that's exactly same thing happening here. So we are searching for webcam and then we are filtering using port 80. So let's do one thing. Let's try to search for different port. So first thing, I need to know what ports are available. So if you remember, when we did the normal search, it was showing us the filters. Like on port 8080, you can see 365 cameras are there. On port 8081, there are 352 cameras. So let's do one thing. Let's filter using the port 8080. So as you can see, it is showing the live cam right here. So let me click on this one and it will show you the live cam. So this is just a really basic example how you can use the Showdown. But there is another angle. We can do lot of advanced queries also. So first let's try to understand what is the basic uses. So in the basic uses, we saw that we can just directly search any term and it will search. In the HTTP filter, you can use http.html, then whatever you need to mention, right? So basically all HTTP filters start with the HTTP, all SSL filters start with the SSL. But I feel the HTTP filter and SSL filters on the Showdown or data on the Showdown is completely useless, because it is not necessarily giving us what we are looking for until and unless we have the paid subscription. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's go forward. Then there is obviously SSH filter. SSH filters are kind of normal filter only, because as you can see, it is searching for SSH term and then it is specifying the port. That's it. That means it is not the SSH filter, it's a port filter. Okay, then we have screenshotting. So let's ignore this for as of now, and there is a restricted filter. So in the restricted filter, it is obviously the restricted. We can search the vulnerabilities directly, or we can search for critical tags. Okay, but they are restricted for the paid users only or enterprises account only. Okay, so that's all about the basics of the showdown. Let's do one thing. Let's try to go one step further and let's try to extract some juicy information from the showdown rather than going for these ports and cameras and that stuff. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's try to execute query something like this. This is the query I have prepared. Okay, so basically what we are doing in the query. In the query, we are trying to search for term MongoDB server information, and then we are trying to say search for port 7017, which is default port of the MongoDB, and then we are mentioning dash authentication. That means find the all MongoDB databases which have authentication open. So as you can see, it is finding all MongoDB websites, right? Or all MongoDB databases which are hosted on this particular host or IP addresses. So we can really easily see unauthenticated MongoDB databases, right? So I'm not going to explore the further because I have limitations. I'm recording the video. But let's do one thing. Let's try to change something. So we can say that instead of the MongoDB, let's try to find Redis. Okay, and what is the default port of the Redis? It's this one, 6379, and obviously we will mention dash authentication. That means open authentication or easily accessible without any authentication, or it has weak authentication. Okay, so as you can see, it is showing the Redis databases which don't have the authentication now. And not only that, we can filter using countries, and we can filter using organization or cloud providers, right? As you can see in the DigitalOcean, there are 3000 VPS are there which has the open Redis authentication. That means we can use their Redis databases, or we can check what is happening in the Redis databases. Obviously, I'm not going to show you in this particular video how to check in the Redis database if they have no authentication, how to check for data which is stored in the Redis database, or how to sniff the data. I'm not going to show in this particular video. Okay, let's try to explore one more command or one more query, which is this one. We are going to use the HTTP filter. So as you can see, I'm using HTTP filter in which I want to scan for the title, and the title should be dashboard for Jenkins. Okay, so basically I am trying to find the dashboard for Jenkins. So let's do one thing. Let's click on the any dashboard right here. As you can see, it is opening the dashboard. I can see the build history. I can see the project relationship. I can see the file fingerprints and whatnot, right? So if you are lucky, then you will see right here some juicy information. Like in case I found one idiot right here, which is basically adding the usernames like this. That means username has a user's email addresses. So I can see right here the whole lot of list of email addresses, right? So you can find idiot like this also. So let's do one thing. Let's move one step forward and let's try to execute another query to find out. Okay, but don't try to go rogue and do everything. Make sure that you are sticking with your target. So let me show you one example. Okay, so let's say you are finding the open logins for, let's say, FTP. That means you are trying to find some kind of open FTP logins. Okay, so in the results, as you can see, it is showing me the FTP connection which are open and accessible for everyone. That means it has either default login or there is no authentication at all, or it is allowing the anonymous user to be accessed, right? So in that case, what you can do is you can mention your target right here. Suppose I am auditing mi.com, then I will say mi.com, and I will try to find the FTP connections related to mi.com rather than going rogue. Or let's say I want to find mi.com, and I want to make sure that I am finding the mail servers for mi.com. So I will just mention the mail here or mail one here, and that will give me the list of the server which has exactly same host name. Or you can type the host name here also and say colon, right? So that will also do the Same thing, I guess, right? So this way you can mention your target and you can narrow down the results. And trust me, this will remove lot of garbage from the results and it will give you accurate pinpoint information that you are looking for. But make sure that you are narrowing, because otherwise you will search for the whole internet and you will get lot of useless data. We should be keeping our scope with our targets only if you are doing the bug bounties, right? We just saw that how to do passive reconnaissance using Showdown tool. Okay, also check the link in the description which will show you a lot of interesting search queries for the Showdown that you can use right away. But make sure that you check your legal boundaries, you check your permissions, and just don't try to go rogue and do anything. If you are doing any illegal things, then I'll be not responsible for your actions. So check your boundaries, check your law, and then proceed.